Kanye's mom was his sacrifice to get into this organization.
Like, if you remember, Jennifer Hudson's entire family was like slaughtered. You remember that? And it was
Yeah,
all
and they
going
said that
through.
was a sacrifice.
Yep. And then of course you had like Aaliyah, who, you know, she passed, and people were like, Timbaland sacrificed her, and that's how she got as powerful. And people were claiming Whitney Houston was a sacrifice for like Clive Davis and Jennifer Hudson, who was going to be taking her place. And okay, I guess kind of what inspired this conversation was we were just talking about just our upbringing and just religion and its influence and, you know, our lives and things like that. And then I guess the conversation about the Illuminati and just like kind of some of our beliefs and things that had happened. For instance, my aversion to Pokemon, or somewhat aversion to Pokemon, because I had been told that it was like demonic, etc., and your parents like kind of forbidding you from getting the green Power Ranger toy because, you know, whatever. So there's always been these kind of religious beliefs. I think I like kind of shook a lot of my religious beliefs that were from that organization while still retaining like faith in who God is and all of those things. And you've kind of gone the route of atheism, which is fair.
Correct.
So with that being said, I guess we kind of got to talk about, you know, this stuff. I said we should have an interesting conversation about the Illuminati. Now, I will say for the record, I'm not one that normally has this kind of conversation publicly, specifically because I already know how like entrenched people are, and it feels like a lot of the beliefs about a lot of this stuff already is kind of somewhat based on your own religious beliefs already. And so then if you have no belief in anything supernatural, anything religious, anything whatever, then any of these things don't make any sense at all. Like, what would be the purpose? There would be nothing to accomplish with it, etc., etc., etc. So it's a very difficult conversation to have with non-believers, which makes the conversation like naturally a little bit more echo chambery in the way that people approach it. But we're gonna get to it anyway. All right. So
these are all interesting.
Yeah.
So when you say, can you name any musicians or songs that are associated with the Illuminati? See, this is like really interesting because you get people like Katy Perry, you get rumors about people like Kanye. I can't name any songs in specific, but I want to say one of the times it was very prevalent was when Katy Perry did, I think it was a halftime show, and she had like a golden cow and just crazy imagery in this show. A lot of people were saying Illuminati this and all that other fun stuff. But ultimately, I would think with most of these things, it comes down to Hollywood doing what it does and the kind of people that hang out in Hollywood, people that are into some fringe beliefs, Kabbalah, and other fun ideas, and they're putting that imagery into these spectacles that we're getting.
Sure.
And so, can I find a picture of that?
You're 100% right. I mean, I man, this is crazy. We might agree about all of this. So yeah, okay. So then in that case, well, for me, I feel like there's plenty of things. I think there were plenty of Beyonce music videos that had some stuff in it, plenty of Katy Perry videos that had some stuff in it. Like back in the day, you know, I think it was like all over, like, you know, just a bunch of folks. But I think the person who had it the absolute most, had it more so than any other person, was Kesha. I think Kesha's Die Young video is like the most Illuminati, you know, satanic video I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know of a video that's more like overt than that.
Okay, I'm looking at pictures of scenes from the video. I'm seeing them under like a pentagram, and they're wearing some wild clothing.
Are you looking
I could see where you get that idea. Yeah, I'm just looking at a picture of one of the screen captures, not the whole video.
It's
so yeah, definitely the imagery would give you that, but then you could also put that to like Wicca.
That's, I mean, I think most Christian people would look at that stuff as kind of like, you're like any kind of witches. Like, I think you can try to paint it like, oh, I'm a white witch. That don't make no difference. Wiccans are just as satanic and demonic as anything else. Although I know that they would argue otherwise. But I think from like a religious, from a spiritual standpoint, then yes, it's just going to be like divination and all sorts of nonsense. But they're asking me to play that video on stream. What do you think? Think we should do that?
I'm down with it.
Okay, I'm not gonna play the
I've
song.
never seen it.
Okay, we're gonna go through this. Okay, but I'm not gonna play the song. I'm just gonna play the music video itself. I don't want the song stuck in my head because it's a particularly catchy song, and all of those songs are really, really catchy. Okay,
This is true.
it's just like, you know, it is what it is, and I'm not doing that to myself. Okay, so I just don't want it in my psyche, really. The video is already bad enough. Okay.
I'm reading the lyrics right now.
Yeah, that was wild. Like even just the song "We're Gonna Die Young" was already like the phrase, like repeating that, and it happened very close to, like, I think Sandy Hook or some other childhood tragedy. So people were like, you know, like, in light of this, like having like all these kids, because, you know, she was particularly popular with everybody, and like having all these kids singing this song where they're chanting "We're gonna die young," people were like, that's demonic in and of itself. Anyway,
not a good look.
No. All right, so I'm streaming it to Discord. You there? You see it?
Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and guide you through all of this nonsense that's in this video. Now, I know there's some people that would like to gaslight me and tell me, oh, the Illuminati's not real, it's not a thing, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. It depends on how you define Illuminati. But is there satanic imagery in music, videos, and pop music everywhere? The answer is yes. Cannot argue with me on that. So instead of having a dumb
No, there's
argument,
definitely imagery.
yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I don't like, it's not even up for debate. So anyway, let's start this video. All right. As you can see, there was like already like a kind of hologram of like a little triangle, something upside down, some whatever. Well, it is what it is. Okay. It's just, that's nothing. That's nothing. Okay. Now here, you see this car here? You see how
it looks like it has horns.
And it has horns on the front of it, but that's not that big a deal, right? And then you look, and you can't make it out right now very clearly, but that little thing on the side of that car, it says evil. It'll get clearer. But yeah, it's there. And yeah, they're making...
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, you can see that says
we
evil.
got some triangles.
You got
triangles going on.
Triangles everywhere. You got the Baphomet head right here. You know what Baphomet is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got the Baphomet head. Let me show you guys really quick just so y'all can understand.
The goat demon.
Yeah. You look up Baphomet images. This is Baphomet. It's like a kind of renowned satanic creature. And that's the Baphomet head. It's like a goat with these horns. And if I just looked it up in Wikipedia, they probably have some pretty interesting... let's see. It's a deity allegedly worshipped by the Knights Templar that subsequently became incorporated into various occult and Western esoteric traditions. The name Baphomet.
So,
yada. Go ahead.
Do you know about the Knights Templar?
A little bit.
So, the Masonic rites that came from the Knights Templar, then went down through the Rosicrucian and the Sacred Order of the Golden Dawn, and those are the same Masonic rites that people that like Aleister Crowley and Sir Walter Mathers wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the same imagery that's coming from them.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. All right, that's the Baphomet head right there. You'll see that Beyonce had it in a ring. Can we define what we say what we mean when we say Illuminati? So this is it's difficult for me because I think Illuminati is just a really loose term, and I think it really just means like powerful elites there's powerful elite individuals with that want to influence things in darkness. So from a Christian standpoint, it would be like people who are like truly like Antichrist, Satanists, etc., etc. That's typically what that would be. I guess. But then Illuminati can mean so many things, right? Because if we start talking about Illuminati within politics, and it'd be like, okay, you got these shadow cabals that are controlling whatever. So Illuminati within banking, and it'd be like, oh, so on and so forth. Illuminati within Hollywood, you have these powerful producers or directors or whatever, you know, the record label owners and so on and so forth, right? And so then it could be anywhere. And then people just use the phrase loosely Illuminati. But what I typically, whenever I'm talking about Illuminati within the music industry, as opposed to thinking of Illuminati, I just tend to really think about just satanic imagery within music. within these music videos and satanic lyrics within the songs and etc. What do you think?
So I don't know if everyone's familiar with the imagery of the Bohemian Grove,
Mhm.
which
That's
is a
the
place
owl,
where
right?
elites, yeah, the elites in California go out there or come out to California to like have debaucherous bacchanalian gatherings where they run around naked and other madness, and nobody can see these gatherings, but there's been a few pictures taken, and there's certain imagery in this grove. I would say that would be like a third tier of what we would think the Illuminati is. So it's like the most secret of secret societies that only the most elite can be a part of, and there happens to be certain rites and rituals coming from this particular secret society that would give people the idea of Satan worship or some other sort of worship going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could also qualify as Illuminati as well. Again, it's a very loose, broad term, so it's hard to like pin down specifically. We're gonna move forward with this video. I'm gonna put it at 2.5. I mean, at 0.25 speed. I feel like I kind of like, if I was like really trying to prove something and like really, if I was trying to make something really compelling, I would probably start with something a lot less. Like if this was like a debate or something that I was trying to win, what I would do is I would start with something that are like a lot less egregious. So then that way I could get all of your arguments and find out all the ways that you would push back against it, and then finally go to this video now that I know all of your arguments and I know how to prepare, like present this thing against your arguments. But this isn't that kind of a thing. I'm not trying to beat you or win. So it's just like, I'm just going to show you what I think is like one of the most egregious in my opinion.
Like, I'm seeing all the earmarks of why you would think so. Like, it's blatantly trying to be giving off that imagery.
By the way, this is a hearse. We're clear of that, right?
Yes, it is.
So this is a hearse with horns, with evil on the side and a Baphomet image, while we have these triangles everywhere. Okay, just clear. Like, I mean, they're really really selling it. And of course, we got the eye.
Then there's the Illuminati eye, and it's over one side.
Over one side of the eye. Let me see. Hold on. I think
same thing with the Katy Perry video. She had the Egyptian eye over one eye.
I think you can see. Like, this thing happens all the time where you have like all these celebrities that will do this thing with the one eye thing, or they'll do like a circle around one eye, or they'll do this. Like, I mean, there's been so many of these like montages that have like kind of demonstrated all of them doing this thing. And so then when you see this kind of stuff and people say like, oh, this is like Illuminati or like whatever, like the thing is, I don't know what the purpose is. I don't know why they do this, but they do this. It is a common theme that we see like a lot of people in the entertainment industry do. And
so can I say I used to do that naturally?
I can believe
I didn't know anything about this, but when I used to be on stage, I would usually wear like a trucker hat or something on that order. I would always cover my left eye.
Okay. You might have just been, maybe you just have a natural calling to the occult. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, bro.
Well, it's actually because I lost a lot of sight in my left eye, and so I don't like having it uncovered in situations like that for balance reasons. But
okay,
it's one of those things.
All right. Well, so anyway, so we see this. This is a thing. We know that this is a thing. You can find it. I remember seeing pictures of James Cameron doing it. I think if I can do, let me see, James Cameron. I don't know. Maybe it'll come up. Let me see. No, maybe if I just do Illuminati. I hate having this even in my searches. This is going to be gross. Oh my God. No, they don't have it. But I remember seeing a picture of him on like the cover of some magazine and he was just covering up one eye. So anyway, this is just a known thing, the one eye thing. And specifically this specific eye is also like, considered satanic by a lot. I think they call it sometimes the Eye of Horus, I believe. Right?
That is it. And like that's what I was saying. Katy Perry specifically had the Eye of Horus in her music video.
In Dark Horse music video. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, so she's doing the one eye thing, black and white. All right. Let's go. Oh, there goes the skull and crossbones. We saw that. It's not that subtle either, but I mean, I guess I'm gonna do it at normal speed, so it's fine here. But like, if you see it normally, it's like, it just kind of happens really quick. But yeah, they did a skull and crossbones for no reason.
My chat just mentioned, am I trying to learn how to get into the Skull and Bones? And the second that was said, that flashed on the screen.
That's crazy. Yep. All right, let's keep going. Nope, they zoomed in on the evil there.
Yep.
Okay.
They're pulling her out of the back of a hearse while
she has
she's...
some crazy dark veil on her. Like, what's going on there? What's that? What do you think is happening here? Why do you think they're doing that?
Yeah, that's definitely the start of a ritual.
Yeah, it sounds weird. I don't know. Actually, let me see.
She'd be like a priestess.
Yeah. What's these symbols? I don't know what these symbols are. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is.
So a lot of that's Egyptian symbology.
Yeah, weird stuff.
Couldn't tell you why that is. Seems like a lot of it seems aesthetic, and then the other portions of it seem specific.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't know why they decide to want to do this, but I think they're really into crap like that. I'm not gonna lie.
So here's the thing. I don't know. Like, some of these things, like, this could be completely aesthetic. The reason why I would know some of these things is because when I used to be about this and I'd watch some of those music videos and stuff, I'd see a lot of the stuff, so I was aware of it. Like, I'm familiar with who Baphomet is and what Baphomet is, so then I can point it out when I see it. Otherwise, that would be an innocuous detail that I would just ignore. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be thinking, oh, look at this goat head on the back. That wouldn't mean anything. Obviously the evil would mean a lot. Skull and crossbones means a lot because I'm like, whatever. Otherwise it would just be like, oh, so it's a random thing, right? So I don't know.
Nope.
All right, let's see.
We got more triangles.
Oh, we got us a gigantic upside down cross here.
It's the Triforce.
Yep, Triforce from Zelda, and a gigantic upside down cross in the middle of it, going over all these triangles. Okay, nothing to see there, right?
Nothing to see there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're just going ham.
Yeah, this isn't even slightly subtle.
Nope.
And then triangles all over the place.
Yep, everywhere.
But like, just being realistic, if someone were, oh wow, with the cross on the, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. They're going for it.
If someone were truly in an organization like this that's supposed to be secret, do you think it would be cool to be broadcasting it in such a gaudy way?
No.
I would even think in that sort of organization, this would be like sacrilegious to them.
Sure. So that's one of the things that's really strange to me because, like I said, for years, these kinds of images, the upside down crosses, the covering of the one eye, the eye of Horus, these things are everywhere. They had been everywhere in these videos, but always like kind of on the low, right? Like it wasn't like so apparent. It wasn't so like whatever. And I feel like this was the first video I'd ever seen where they decided it would not be subtle. Prior to this video, I cannot think of another example that was this apparent. And so it felt almost like this is just that turning point where it's just like, you know what, we don't care, I'm just gonna whatever. I think there was also like a thing of somewhat branding. I guess there's different layers to the argument. Some people would say that the reason why they're doing all of this images and like to this degree is specifically to kind of normalize people to this type of imagery, to this darkness, etc., and to like so that they will eventually be significantly more normalized subconsciously. Because if you're not aware of any of these things, if you ask like little kids who were 7 or 8 years old, they probably weren't paying enough attention to notice these things, and nothing stood out to them. So then it was just like, oh yeah, it's whatever, you know. And so then when these things are presented in another way, it'd be a lot more easy to digest, I guess, is the argument.
I could see that. Desensitize the masses to imagery like this so they can continue doing. I just wouldn't think like, because you have other secret societies throughout time, like same like with the Bohemian Grove thing. There's nothing blatant that they're putting out there to show you they would be involved in something like this. Unless there was a picture and a list, you'd never even know. So if somebody were to be like putting Bohemian Grove imagery into their music video, I think they want to shut that person up real quick.
I totally agree.
Just the opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So
I don't have the answer. I don't know.
This could be shock and awe, in my opinion.
Yes, I could see that as well. I could absolutely see that. All right, another upside down cross flashing.
Yeah.
I don't know what this mark is. It's just a random circle with the K on it. Or Kesha, I'm guessing.
Seems like it might be. Looks like she's making a ritual circle.
I don't know. And now they're just destroying everything here. Like they're just going wild rock and roll stuff, right? Oh, what's that? Just pushing someone's head down. I wonder what that was symbolizing.
I didn't see that.
Here she was, yeah, right there.
Okay, yeah, right there.
I feel like they were symbolizing some sort of oral taking place or something. You know what I mean? I guess
that's definitely.
I think that's the suggestion.
They're giving off the debauchery vibe. It's good.
Doing something with just one eye. I don't know.
Okay.
Wrong eye. I don't know. Okay, so this now typically though for the pentagram, the star is supposed to be upside down, isn't it?
Yes,
typically.
It is.
Because like that's how
I
the
believe this is a Wiccan.
is.
This is a Wiccan symbol, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pentagram goes back God knows how long, right? Like it's a billion different people have used it. Satanics have like adopted it too, but I don't know. It's just yet another thing that again,
this is definitely the Wiccan.
Right, like concomitantly with everything else is wild though. And that female also had the stripe down the middle of her face, which I don't know what that is. I want to look it up. For a pentagram has to be upside down, right?
Yeah, the point's always down. So this is a Wiccan pentacle.
Wait, what's this?
Oh, they run pentagrams that way too. See, the one that's next to that is the one I usually see because it's supposed to look like a goat.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, I've always thought it was upside down because of the Baphomet thing, but apparently, I guess some of them are right side up as well. Okay, but the Baphomet pentagram
there's the Masonic version.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you got
that.
There's
a bunch of different ways to run your pentagram.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that, but you learn something new every day. Okay, so that is a pentagram technically that they're dancing in front of. Okay. All right, now they're dancing.
Sun symbol, Golden Dawn.
I missed it. Where?
Oh, that whole light in the background.
Oh, okay.
Golden Dawn.
I don't know what that means. What's that?
The Sacred Order of the Golden Dawn.
Oh no, yeah,
it's a precursor. It's a precursor of a lot of Masonic rituals. So they came from the Rosicrucian, which came from the Knights Templar, and they wrote rites and rituals.
I'm gonna get bodied.
There you go.
Organized by the Golden Dawn Order was a secret society devoted to the study and practice of occult, hermeticism, and metaphysics during the late 19th and early 20th century. This is gross. This is all going to be in my algorithms. I hope to God that my algorithms don't get destroyed.
So if you've ever heard the name Aleister Crowley, he was a part of that organization.
Okay. Well, of course I know who that is. He was in Michael Jackson's Dangerous music video cover. You know that? Crazy.
He was called the most evil man on the planet at one point.
I remember. He wrote the Satanic Bible, didn't he?
No, not that I know of, but he started his own religion called Thelema. And he wrote 2 books for Thelema, the Book of Lies and the Book of the Law.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm referring to, the Book of the Law. I don't know what that eagle represents. I don't know what the freak that is.
Couldn't tell you on that. Some cards.
I think those are tarot cards that she's playing with.
Probably.
Those are definitely... that looked like that could have been Baphomet right there in the card.
That was Baphomet.
Yeah.
Baphomet on the card.
Yep. Tarot cards that I think they're playing with. And I mean, bro, they're going for it. I don't know what this is.
They're not caring.
Fina, fruta, vegeta?
Fruits and vegetables. Fine fruits and vegetables. I don't know. My Spanish is terrible.
And they show these 2 wolves. Somebody's standing in a circle of rocks, some type of ritual, something, right?
So is this one of her earlier videos or like one of her?
This is later.
Okay.
Yeah. Why didn't I not open up an incognito tab? Yeah, I probably should have done that. Freak.
They're still watching.
Yeah.
Because for things like this, a lot of times I think they're trying to get publicity by doing something that's going to get the attention of fundamental Christians.
So then they can like talk bad about it, and then that of course helps them get publicity.
Well, I know as the kid, my parents were watching like 700 Club or TBN, and they were talking about Guns N' Roses and saying how evil Guns N' Roses is. So I was told before I had any interest in listening to Guns N' Roses that I can't listen to Guns N' Roses. So of course, what do I now want to do?
Yep, 100%.
So I feel like that might be part of the marketing for this, and they are just throwing it out there real hard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Continue. Yeah. Why the wolves?
I don't know. Doing that thing. Now they're getting sexual, like, you know, they're doing some orgy type stuff. Looking like. Yeah, they're getting very sexual here. Yeah, she's by herself doing some nonsense with her no cakes having self. Gross. Ugly body.
So is she trying to be a sheep or was she trying to be a wolf?
Nigga, I don't know. Oh, I saw an upside down cross flash there.
They can't help it. They're just gonna keep doing it.
Yep. Yeah, they're flashing it. OD. You see that?
Yep.
Yeah, they're going ham. Yeah. Doing some orgy type stuff. It might have been a nipple. I'm not sure if I saw that. Yeah, it's just crazy. Still in front of the pentagram. Yeah, I don't know what any of this is crazy. This is OD. Like just
yeah, they're just running it. Oh, full on.
Yeah, this is nuts. This is nuts. It makes my stomach turn a little bit. This is OD. Like again, in other stuff, I can show you videos where, and you can look in the comments and people be like, "Oh, this video is really demanding," and you'll hear a bunch of people saying stuff like, "Yeah, no, I don't get it. I don't think so. I think you're reaching." And here it's so OD that it's like there's literally no way you can argue. Like you can't gaslight me here. Like this is.
They're doing it on purpose, and anyone who's saying otherwise is like being extremely bad faith or is super ignorant.
Yeah. Oh, there goes the police showing up.
That's what I was thinking, Kyle. I think with a lot of this imagery that it's a lot of atheists that just want to trigger Christians.
Could be.
Just being honest.
We know that one. That's Illuminati,
yeah.
Right?
Straight up Illuminati with the eye on the triangle. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh wait, they're shooting into this place now?
This is making me think of Dusk Till Dawn all of a sudden.
Hey, I've thought that. I've thought of that from the beginning, just because it's Latin, it's kind of rustic, etc., etc. But look at this right here. Look in the back of her. You see that? Mm-hmm. That's literally perfect, like all-seeing eye in the middle of the triangle.
Right on the tramp stamp. Let's go. Yeah, this was like not even trying to hide that we're using every sort of secret society and religious symbol we can.
Yeah, it's like as obvious as you can be. So Chess Piece and another contrarian, they were asking, what is it? What's so harmful about this stuff? What do you think? Why do you think that this? Do you think that type of imagery? He said, or I guess I just don't see what the problem is with this type of iconography. And then they were saying, yeah, what's it? What do you guys? Who do you guys feel this is harming? Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think there's any problem with it, iconography at all? And do you think it would be harming anyone?
It would be harming people that believe that those things are real. That's about as far as I can really take it on that, because otherwise it doesn't change anybody's day one way or another. And if you internalize these things, like let's say the Illuminati is real. I can't say it is. I can't say it isn't. I don't think that's the kind of advertisement they want.
Okay.
But it gives people illusions of grandeur. So that's the one thing I could probably take away from that, is that people wanting to be different around other people may try to give off certain imagery to make themselves stand out. Like people that wear certain band t-shirts, if you're going to walk around wearing a shirt with an upside down cross on it, you're going to get some notice out of it.
So it's like going for the infamy thing.
Yeah, because like a lot of girls I know in high school, they would like want to be Wiccans just so they could stand out among other girls, and like it really kind of ostracizes them pretty often. There's an idea in Japan called a chunibyo. It's people that grow out of or should have grown out of certain childlike mannerisms, like pretending to be a superhero and stuff like that. But they're still doing it in like early adolescence.
I see.
And those people stand out, but they're trying to be different. They're trying to be cool. So they like, you know, dress like a magical girl or like wear an eye patch and say that, you know, if I take off this eye patch, my power is going to get released. Weird stuff like that, which makes you look like a dork in front of everybody else, but you think you're super cool.
Yeah, that sounds really nerdy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's what this stuff seems like. It's a lot of LARPing for Satanism.
All right. To me, I'll tell you why I think that this imagery and stuff is kind of harmful. I think for several reasons. One, like a lot of times I think people look up and idolize a lot of these like these celebrities and people like that. And I think in the same sense, if they're paying attention to these kinds of things and they're seeing all of these associations, I can see it making people particularly curious about it. I happen to know of a guy from the fighting game community, won't say his name, but eventually he like started getting into all of that kind of stuff and screwing around with like a lot of the occultic stuff and things like that. I don't know what made him so particularly curious. I don't know where it developed, but I could imagine if that person went on to become like a crazy iconic person within that community, other young people I could see them looking up to him to see like, oh, this is what he's into, I want to try to do this too. It would be attractive, because if you like respect the person and you say that this person is showing that they're into that, it would make you curious about all of those things. And whether you believe that it's real or not, as far as like the metaphysics of it is concerned, like there's no doubt about it, there are actual rituals and things associated with this. There are actual beliefs associated with this, writings associated with these things. And so I could see that children, or not even children, even adults, I could just see people seeing this imagery, becoming curious, deciding to look it up, and people that need things to believe in and things that are like searching for stuff. I could see them like looking into this kind of stuff and normalizing to it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say those things are problems. Because like here's the deal. If you're going to be a Satanist, to me, even absent the idea of Christianity, although like Satanism is like pretty much the contrapositive to Christianity, if you decide to be that, the beliefs and associations associated with that, like religion, are things that I just don't think are positive things. And so I think because of that, I would say that's probably the biggest danger associated with it. I think also obviously the overt sexuality and things that they were showing there, obviously like the complete like resistance to whatever the police in this scenario, the lasciviousness associated with like the orgy and all of that kind of nonsense seems whatever. And then I just don't see why it would ever be positive or beneficial to be associating yourself with like things like tarot cards, things like death and darkness and all of those kinds of things that they were doing with the hearse and the veil and the evil. And why would it ever be good to be evil? Why would we ever want to normalize and encourage evil, which is literally what was written on that hearse that she came in on? Why would we ever want to associate those things? That's why I would say these things are naturally harmful, because it typically like kind of orients people opposed to what all of these good things that are associated with the opposite of those beliefs. So I would say that's what's bad.
So a lot of people, to my understanding, especially people that claim to be Satanists that don't really believe in Satan, but are looking at the figure of Satan through literature and see him as like a rebel, something that stands against even the most powerful thing. And that's where I think a lot of people would want to cozy up to certain ideas, but I don't think it's healthy in any way, if that makes sense. And especially if you start like believing that you can get power from a being like this, that's not been quantified anywhere. So if you're sacrificing people or doing crazy things, which
Sacrificing
have been done,
animals.
yes,
Yep.
these things have been done.
Yep.
That's horrible. They need to seek help. And that would be another place where some of that harm could come from if people actually believe that these things are the case. Like what really hurts is like when people die from exorcisms.
Mm.
Like I find that to be wild.
Yep.
Because you're believing that there's a demon and you're believing that demon is inside someone, and in trying to remove it, that person loses their life.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any of those cases, but I could imagine it, and that sounds crazy. I think even looking at it, I would think about the idea that, well, yes, like Satan is clearly like a rebel, but then very often, very frequently, it's specifically a rebel with regards to Christianity. And I mean, the amount of goodness within that religion, within the Bible, specifically Christianity, which would be the New Testament. I think a lot of those things are positive, like, you know, the turn the other cheek, the idea of like caring for your neighbor, you know, all of these things, loving your neighbor as yourself, you know, all the commandments, you know, not coveting and not murdering, and just being, you know, just being a hard worker, and all these things that like are found within the New Testament. I would think that something that wants to rebel against that, wants to rebel against society. The vast majority of people, even though a lot of them don't practice like per se, the vast majority of people in this country identify as Christian, and with these Protestant Christian values. And so then the idea of wanting to rebel against good Protestant Christian values that like would greatly benefit society and have greatly benefited society sounds kind of nuts to me. I like the idea of looking at that as harmless seems kind of crazy to me.
It's definitely harmful to society if people embrace actually doing the opposite of what these things are, but rebelling against the idea of organized religion or other things, I can understand and kind of get behind in some ways. Like being anti-establishment for a lot of people, that was like the jam in high school and growing up. And sometimes they grow out of it, sometimes they don't. And if they don't, their life is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes in that end, Satanism is the way, is the means. Or goth, you know, them goth kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just doing things that are just like literally completely opposite. I guess it's kind of you find this, it's like this, it's like a strength and comfortability in being as far away from the norm as you possibly can. You know, and if you don't like the way things are going, or you don't whatever, it's like there's this rebelliousness that's like, hey, I just want to do the opposite, and that's where a lot of those goth kids and stuff end up coming from that.
And a lot of them have home life problems on top of self-esteem issues.
Yep.
They still want to create a persona about themselves that they think people will like. I that's the best I can get out of that.
Sure. So,
and associating this with that, I can't always do that, but I could say for sure that is one of the driving factors for people that are using this imagery.
Yeah. So one of the questions in there says, do you think the use of symbolism and hidden messages... No, first it was, have you come across any theories or evidence that suggest the involvement of the Illuminati in specific music artists or their works? And I think the answer to that question is yes, in the sense that we just saw it in a dang music video, right? Now,
all over it,
everywhere, right? So then it's no longer a conversation about is there satanic imagery. Now, if you don't believe in the Illuminati, you don't believe that this thing is real, all those things, that's fine. The idea that this imagery isn't there and that powerful people within the industry aren't intentionally injecting that type of imagery into these music videos, that's not up for debate. That is a thing that has been happening within the music industry and the entertainment industry for decades at this point. That is a thing that has been and is continuing to be done.
We pretty much knocked out like 3 or 4 of these.
Yeah.
Just with that music video.
For sure. That's why I probably should have like started with something a little bit more debatable, you know, but yeah, that's that.
Yeah, the whole deal is just mostly how real is it and why has been like the driving focus here. And I really can't say that these people would be actual Illuminati. And so like one of the things that that comes up a lot is Kanye
Mm-hmm.
and the way Kanye acts and what happened with his mom. And people say that Kanye's mom was his sacrifice to get into this organization.
That's sick stuff. Yeah.
And those kind of theories I don't really appreciate because I believe he loved his mom. I don't think he would sacrifice his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he's genuinely talented enough to be as big as he is. He may be completely out there, but he is very talented.
For sure.
So that's distracting from him.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that. Like I remember back in the day when I used to actually follow a lot of this nonsense. Then yeah, they would like tie almost all of it. Like if you remember, Jennifer Hudson's entire family was like slaughtered. You remember that?
Yeah, and they said that was a sacrifice.
Yep. And then of course you had like Aaliyah, who, you know, she passed and people were like Timbaland sacrificed her, and that's how she got as powerful. And people were claiming Whitney Houston was a sacrifice for like Clive Davis and Jennifer Hudson, who was going to be taking her place, and all this nonsense.
And I haven't heard anything about Jennifer Hudson in a while, so that was a terrible deal.
Well, I mean, she just did the Aretha show. The Aretha movie, which I still haven't seen because I'm terrible, but I need to. Yeah, and now, you know, she has her own TV show. I think that literally occupies the same time as Ellen, the Ellen DeGeneres show. So she's particularly successful, but this is like over a decade later. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, she's been sustaining herself in the industry, and I think she has just become. If you look at her time from American Idol and then you look at her now, vocally, she is just not even in the same field. She is just a different singer, just that much better. And, you know, it was time. You know, she was like, I think 18, 19 or some young age when she was doing American Idol. And so she just had years in training, and now has the resources to like perfect her voice and become more comfortable. And now she is just a different beast vocally. It's crazy how good she is. Something asked, are there any historical precedents or similar conspiracy theories in the entertainment industry that might help us understand the fascination with the Illuminati? What do you think?
I really couldn't say anything close to what the Illuminati is throughout history. Like there have been secret organizations like Men of Letters and other, like what I was naming off before, the Knights Templar and the Rosicrucian. Like those existed, but they actually existed. They were provable. You have Freemasons at this point, where I don't know how much about Freemasonry I believe, but I know there are transcripts and rituals that came from previous traditions, which mostly there were things that were stolen from the Middle East during the Crusades. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from, because these people believe these items and these images have power, and that's what's supposedly something that makes them what they are.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the use of symbolism and hidden messages in music videos and album covers is a deliberate effort by artists, or do you think it's mostly coincidence?
In some cases, I believe it's deliberate. I'd say probably 75% of the time it's deliberate.
Do you think it's deliberate by the artist, or do you think it's deliberate by the labels?
It could be either one. I think they have to approve or disapprove of certain imagery, so they're probably in on it, or they suggested it. So I think both of them would be complicit.
All right, so here comes my wild theory, okay? I don't believe the artists have mostly anything to do with this. Kesha, at the time of that music video, was like particularly young. She didn't write that song. She didn't like design the song. She definitely didn't like direct that music video or have anything to do with that. That was all done by like her label and her team. And I find that I think most of these artists don't like necessarily have like a whole lot of say so, right? Like it's not like Mariah Carey's going there and saying, "Hey, I want to do this exact music video with this exact storyboard, etc., right?" Like a lot of times that's not done by, like, she's not the one saying that, even though she does write all of her songs, and like she might have something to do with some of the imagery somewhat, but she's obviously a little bit more a little bit more in control. But I think in most of these cases, the artists aren't the ones that are in control. Even when they're like dancing in front of a music video, they're not going behind the scenes and saying, I'm going to choose what the backdrop is going to be in this music video. They're not picking the outfits, right? Like you have an entire like costume design team that provide these outfits for these music videos. And so a lot of times those people are like, hey, here's the outfit you're going to be wearing, right? Like that's not like they have stylists. They're not choosing what type of hair. They're literally standing in front of the camera, and the director is the one telling them things like, okay, here, do this with your eye, or do this with your whatever.
Yeah.
Like that, it's not them really doing most of these things. Like they have so very little input here. So I think a lot of times when like people started saying really stupid stuff like, oh, these artists are in the Illuminati, like Beyonce is in the Illuminati, Jay-Z or Rihanna or Kesha or whoever is in the Illuminati, I think that's really, 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 really dumb. Always was really dumb. Now, what I will say is the labels that they are attached to are in some way associated with this type of demonic imagery and things like that. And so they're the ones injecting these things into these places. But do I think like Beyonce is truly going there and saying like, no. So I want us to be like arranged in a triangle and I only wanted to like, I don't think that that's the case. Nor do I think Kesha was the one that was sitting there saying like, hey, I want to do, I want to like arrive in a hearse that says evil with horns on it. And I want it to be wearing a dark veil. Like, I just don't see that. I don't think she like choreographed her dances. I don't think she like color treated the video. I don't think she was the one editing the upside down crosses or the triangle. I just don't think that she did that. No, we gotta be dancing in front of a pentagram. Trust me, it's so important in my vision. We gotta do it. Like, I just don't see that. Like I would think that the labels would be the ones that would have the influence to be able to cause this imagery and stuff to be there, which is why it's so pervasive.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and just the easiest conclusion to come to, therefore, is probably correct. I would say people like Madonna, Little Nas X, a few different artists like that actually push to have certain imagery like that in their videos because of what they want to put off. Because Madonna got into like Kabbalah, and so she started doing wild stuff like that and having pentagrams and other things. And I think people like to emulate that, and they think it's going to make them successful. But in a lot of ways, it kind of does. But definitely, I want to say the industry has a lot of people that are into these kind of things. If it's just like, even just to tick people off.
100% agree. I think even when it comes to like Lil Nas X, there is literally no doubt in my mind that he's just smart. What Lil Nas X is doing is I feel like he goes out of his way to intentionally frustrate the black community, because of black community, black folks are pretty conservative and Christian and more religious than most, and anti a lot of some of the progressive stuff in his direction. I'm gonna just say it. Black folks, are just kind of conservative about gay stuff. They just are.
Very true.
And so I think Lil Nas X, what he's intentionally doing is he's like doing these things that are going to shock and piss people off, specifically black people. And then he trends and everyone talks about what he's doing. And this is what actually helps drive his publicity. So when like someone told me that there's some video of his where he like slid down a pole and was like dancing with Satan or trying to seduce Satan or something like that. I don't know. Went all the way to hell. He's like slid down a stripper pole to hell and danced with Satan or some nonsense. I've never seen the music video. I have no intention of watching it. I won't watch it. Now, but the point is though, is that he knew what he was doing. He knew that was going to piss people off. And it's crazy because he tweeted out, he said, I better get me an Illuminati video for this one. I worked so very freaking hard. So it's like, he knows that there's all these crazy Illuminati videos and what I mean? Like he knows that there's all these people. I'm just calling them crazy but they're not. I don't think it's crazy to say that there's all this imagery and stuff, but I think he knows about that. And so he's like, hey, I'm going to do this video and then everyone's going to talk about it. Or like when he did the photo shoot where he's like pregnant and he's like, I'm birthing this album. And it's just like, people got very angry. Like, you can't. And so it's like, okay, he's doing the thing and everyone talked about it. I wouldn't even know that it existed if people weren't so pissed off on Twitter and everywhere.
There we go.
So it's amazing marketing because he's just playing black folks. So I think a lot of people do that.
I would say the question I would ask, do you believe these symbols actually have power?
I don't know. I haven't studied them enough to know whether they would have power or not, but I think I think they are, even if it's not the symbol itself has power, I think the symbols are a representation of people's association with that stuff. And I believe obviously that Satan is real. I obviously believe that like demons exist, and all of those things. And I think there are people that are in league with Satan within those industries doing very dark stuff. And so I mean, I guess, yeah, religiously, I would probably say that, you know, since Satan has like power within this world to do stuff, I could imagine that people have the ability to do things with him in order to get further and, you know, progress more within different industries and things like that. I could see that.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
in a roundabout way, I guess the answer is yes. That was very long-winded, but I just like to give you the context. So I would say yes, but not in a sense there's like, oh, just having this on the video immediately makes it so that Satan is going to make people watch it more. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just hard to like to say yes, because it's like it depends on what you mean by power, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, that was pretty vague, because imagery in itself does have power. It can invoke things in people's minds.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And I would think the only people that these symbols would invoke these things in their mind would be people that have some attachment, either for or against what these symbols represent.
Sure.
So you're either pro it or you're against it. Otherwise, you really wouldn't even care. So this seems like a fight between two factions in creating media like this.
Yeah. You know, there was a point in time when I forget who it was on the radio, but they directly asked Jay-Z if he was in the Illuminati. Do you remember that? Like when his whole thing was popping?
I heard something about that, but I don't know for sure what it was about. I know he throws up the triangle and all that other good stuff.
I think so. Like the reason why, like for Jay-Z with the whole triangle thing, like I think that has mostly to do with our dollars. That has mostly to do with money, right? Because if we look up like, you know, what's on the back of the dollar bill, you know, they have that image, which can easily be associated with masonry if you want to. Let me see, U.S. dollar bill back image. Okay. So yeah, so like, okay, I'm gonna put this right here. So I should probably stream it to you. If we look at this dollar bill, right? Like this is the back of our dollar, and it has this stuff on there. Okay.
With the eye in the middle of the triangle.
I remember hearing some OD stuff where someone was saying that this thing means Mason, like because like if you look and you draw like the pentagram, like from the points, there's like an A and an S and then like an N and an M and an O, like at these points. So it's MASON, right? But anyway, that's just a weird thing. Like I said, I was deep into this nonsense, reading a whole bunch of it, and back in the day. And so anyway, but my point being, if you think about like Jay-Z coming from, you know, abject poverty, you know, being raised in the freaking projects, the idolization of money is like a thing where it's like, my goal is to make money coming from poverty. Like I do music because I'm good with my words, but also because I want to make money. I want to make a living, and I want to escape this type of lifestyle and live something bigger than what I, you know, what otherwise would. And so I would imagine if you're chasing money, then this would make sense. This is the back of the dollar bill. Now, does that mean that he's like associated with the Masons? I don't even think that thought when he probably originally started doing this was even anywhere close to his mind. It was more about like, yo, this is a symbol on the back of the dollar bill, and I want to incorporate that. So now I'm doing this thing over my eye with the whatever. And of course, some of the wealthy, one of the wealthiest families of all time were the Rockefellers. So then that's why he was always, you know, part of Rockefeller Records, and you know that's why he was that was like part of what he wanted to like invoke, if that makes sense. Do I think that means he's Masonic, demonic, et cetera, et cetera? No, but I think that would make a lot more sense why that would be there. Now, Jay-Z does a lot of sacrilegious things that I will never ever disagree with, right? Like I'm not going to gaslight people and be like, he's a very upstanding Christian. He's married to a Christian wife. Like it's not that. I think he's a very sacrilegious individual. But I don't think I think he doesn't necessarily believe in God in that sense, and so then I think because of that, then it's like, yeah, I don't have a problem doing that. And again, It keeps everybody talking. It's like amazing marketing. You just win, you know?
That is a great way to break that down. And I think that would be a good reason for people showing that symbol and constantly using that symbol. And still, money's always going to be the root of all of this.
Yep. Yep.
So it's what it all comes back to. But these are Freemason symbols, multiple symbols. But why the upside down cross is just like, it's like they're trying really, really hard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to try to find that. I'm going to try to find the thing of him asking. I don't even know. It probably.
Yeah, see, it's videos like that. That very top one is videos like that that get people talking.
Yeah, I see.
That's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not doing that. And you know, I'm never afraid to show my history. I can like look through it. Maybe I have some Illuminati stuff. Let me see if I just type that in my search history. Let me see what comes up. Yeah. Wait, I just typed in Illuminati and the Kesha Die Young video comes up?
Comes right up.
What the frick?
Like a lot of this comes up. Like Jim Carrey, White, Rock Nation comes up, Beyonce comes up.
Yeah, Formation. So that's crazy. Do you remember when Jim Carrey did this? Look. Hold on. Do I have sound? I don't know how to. Why don't they let you turn the sound up? Like in a video. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what this is. Never mind. Anyway, my point being, I don't have them, but I remember it was a long time ago. There was a video, and it was just like they were asking Jay-Z, like, "Hey, are you in the Illuminati?" And I remember, and it like his response was, "Yeah, they've done really good at like taking away a lot of this stuff, which is great." Okay. So basically, like they were asking him all of these things. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. But yeah, they were asking him like, was he in it? And I remember his response was something more along the lines of him saying, like they were like, yeah, man, like you put these things in your music video and you do like this stuff there. And then I remember him saying specifically, it's not me, like repeatedly. But he's also particularly vague and cryptic in its response. And then they like ask him, and then he mentions like, you know, people a lot of times they just want to see like an explanation for like certain levels of success that they're unable to attend. And then he mentioned that there are specific clubs like in such and such wealthy areas, like in the Hamptons and places like that, that I can't even get into. Basically describing that like, yes, I might have a lot of money, but there are certain levels of power and wealth and like associations that still would reject me because of my history and who I am. And so then the idea that I'm in the Illuminati sounds crazy. And
right.
So I remember reading that or hearing that years ago. This is before, because YouTube used, like did like 3 giant purges of Illuminati stuff, right?
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there used to be videos everywhere, right? Like it was just, and of course, obviously it was in my algorithm. So then I was seeing a lot more. And then I want to say in like 2012, or maybe late 2011, but I want to say 2012. But either way, that was one of the biggest purges where they finally were like almost all Illuminati, like anti-celebrity videos were just completely deleted from the internet, like from YouTube. They just all got erased like at the same exact time. And so then people were re-uploading some of them, but a lot of them like just disappeared and we never have seen them again. And so it's funny now because when we're looking for them, like just now when I just did, I don't even know how to find them anymore. But yeah, in the video, they did that to him and Brianna. Go ahead.
I'll put this in the Discord.
Okay. I'll stream it.
Is it up?
You wait, are you streaming it yourself or are you linking it to me?
I can link it to you.
Okay.
There you go.
Let me know when you send it. Oh, there we go.
Just in it.
All right, let's see what this is about. What this nigga gonna say. I genuinely hate the way YouTube works in this regard. So I have to go home, right? Because
like you can read the subtitles on it.
To believe anyway, so
there it
I mean,
goes.
why
Rewind,
waste
rewind.
my time?
You always seem to keep your cool and not respond to the BS that's out there.
It's, you know, when you're not in control of the outcome, it don't matter what I say. People gonna believe what they want to believe anyway, so I mean, why waste my time?
You always seem to keep your cool.
There's his answer, pretty much.
I don't know. See, I don't know if the context of that was even talking about the Illuminati stuff, but yes, I could see that. But the thing is, here's the deal. I have a lot of respect for Jay-Z just as an artist, and obviously, like, this dude's one of the most successful people of all time within, like,
And works
period,
hard.
Period, right? So I get why he is the way that he is, because he's intentionally vague a lot of time with a lot of his responses and stuff like that, because it does drive a lot of attention his way. Just recently, he did the Grammys, the VMAs, whatever the freak it was, right? And he did a performance called, I think it's called God Did, with like DJ Khaled and all those people. And in it, they all sat at a table, like recreating the Lord's Supper. You ever hear about that?
No, I didn't. Are you serious?
Let me see. Hold on. Jay-Z. I want it's called God Did Grammy Performance. Yeah, I've never even seen this, honestly. 'Cause you know, I'm just kind of good on the Illuminati stuff.
J Electronica. Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute it because I don't, want to get silenced or get the video, demonetized or whatever. Because Jay-Z his music is always real serious about it, just so we're clear. But yeah, so they're all sitting at a table, and that's like supposed to be emulating the Last Supper, which is them being sacrilegious in a way. And Jay-Z just does not shy away from sacrilegious content, like literally ever.
Calls himself Jehovah.
Right. Jehovah is like, well, obviously, like he used to be Jehovah the God, right? So then there's that. Then of course you have that one song where he said life begins when the church ends, and it was just like, whoa, like what the freak is that? You're married to a Christian woman, Beyonce, but not everybody's gonna be like that crazy about their religion, whatever, so on and so forth. My point being,
much.
So he did this kind of stuff, right? My pastor talked about the disgustingness that was this whole Grammys thing, just like how much sacrilegious and anti-religious stuff and all of these things. And I realized I would not have even heard about the performance or anything about it. We wouldn't have been talking about it had he not mentioned it. And he only mentioned it because of its sacrilegious thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he cared about the Grammys and stuff. And so I realized this is really effective marketing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue it would be happening for any other reason.
Sure.
Because I have to discount secret societies marketing themselves for desensitization. Like, that's a little rough, because then, like, what are they trying to do? Like, have it on everything? Like, I don't know what that accomplishes.
Right.
But there's definitely people making an effort to trigger people for money and get basically free advertising. Like, that's kind of what I feel like Eminem was doing in his first couple albums. Because I don't know if you heard Eminem before Dr. Dre got a hold of him.
Oh no, I did not. Oh, I heard some of his battle rap. Yeah.
He wasn't rapping about anything crazy, really. Like, he was rapping about making money for his daughter, the whole deal. So then when he gets with Dre, it's all the doing drugs and other things that he wasn't rapping about, which was to make people want to take it off the shelves. This is dangerous music. And once you build that kind of mystique around yourself, eventually you can stop doing it and actually do some real work like what he does now. But he's never going to go back to what he was doing originally.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, yeah, so there's a bunch of, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, it's really, really hard to like kind of to sell one way or the other. It's just, it's a thing. We like, the imagery is there. And obviously as a Christian, I'm not going to like any of that kind of imagery. Do I think, again, that the celebrities themselves are in the Illuminati? No. And specifically when it comes to like Beyonce, right? I think that was one of the ones that really helped sell that for me, is the idea that like Beyonce, before she kind of went independent and like kind of retired, there was like imagery and stuff in her music videos too, with a lot of darkness and things like that within that stuff. And she retired and like started doing her own, like where she's like, I'm shooting my own music videos, I'm funding them myself, I'm not like part of a label, like I'll have a label distribute, but I'm not gonna, like, this label isn't gonna be the one producing, I'm gonna be producing it out of pocket, I'm gonna be recording in my own studio at my own house, I'm gonna be shooting the videos and coming up with the ideas myself, or hiring a dude directly and then having him shoot the music videos. I'm gonna come up with the album concepts, etc. I'll release them on the days when I decide to, of my own volition, etc., etc. And so she like did all of these things that made her like functionally independent, right? Obviously, she can afford to have an entire team. And oh, sorry, someone's driving by.
I live on a street like that. I get it.
Yeah. What's funny about it is the second she went in that direction, all of that Illuminati imagery and all that other stuff just disappeared. Suddenly, now she's not doing anything Illuminati based. It's all just, now I'm just, doing my music, doing my own thing. And it's like, very sexual in nature still, but all the Illuminati stuff goes out the window. And it's like, I wonder what that's about. It seems to me like probably she wasn't the one sitting there saying, no, I want it shot at specifically this angle so that my eye doesn't, like, I just don't think that they're doing that. I don't. And I noticed the same thing happened for like some other artists too, where it's like once they got their control, it was just like the Illuminati stuff is just gone.
So if that definitely again is more information pointing toward the industry itself, pushing that type of imagery. And someone in my chat enlightened me to an idea called flooding the field. And if you put out so many sources of legit and fraudulent information, it muddies the water to where people begin to doubt that the organization even exists. So yeah, that could be a reason why.
I could see it. Yeah. So look, right after right after Jay-Z did that radio interview where he did it, then they did the same thing to Rihanna. They asked her the same exact questions, and she was like responding almost in the exact same way. Because what they would do is they would say it like, yeah, like he was like, first he said like, it's not me, whatever. And then afterwards, they were like, but I mean, come on, like there's imageries in there. And he was like, and then he started saying, are we in there? And he kept saying that, like, are we in there? And it was just like, like, so then what people would say to that is like, see, so he's telling you without telling you, right? Like he's telling you he's in there, well, whatever. So then like when those kinds of things happened, it would annoy me when people would start saying stuff like, wait a minute, like you can't, like, when he would be like, yeah, I don't respond. I don't really do anything because you can't convince people. It's like, you're not trying to convince people. In fact, you're intentionally making people believe that you're in there. You're doing things specifically to stoke those fires. So again, I'm not hating this. You're marketing, you do what you ever do. I couldn't do that because of just my religious beliefs and how important my religion and my faith is to me. But if I was a non-religious person, I would do that in a heartbeat, right? Like, why wouldn't I? If I knew that was going to force everyone to like talk about me, the vast majority of people in this country are Christian, and I know that like nothing is going to peeve them more than like whatever, and all the people who aren't practicing Christians are going to like now be talking about my music and stuff, and it's going to make me be heard more. It's going to boost me in the algorithms. It's going to make me, you know what I mean? Like it's going to make me successful. Why wouldn't I do that?
Exactly. And so it goes in the opposite direction. Like when Kanye did Jesus Walks, like most of the lyrics of that song was saying how he's going to lose money for rapping about Jesus.
Yeah.
And it was the exact opposite. It was like a number one.
Yeah. I couldn't stand it. I didn't like it.
No, I wasn't a fan, but still, because he's very whiny.
Yep. There was another interesting question. Let me find it real quick. It was, let me see. They asked, sorry, hold on. Oh, maybe we got through them.
We got through a lot of the questions even without prompting because we just kind of went there.
Yeah.
Distinguishing between genuine information, evidence from mere speculation or conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
That's very difficult to do, especially if it is truly a secret organization.
Sure. Well, the other part of that question, That was that other question, though. Do you think that the Illuminati narrative is perpetuated by genuine belief, or is it mostly driven by entertainment value and marketing strategies? And I was like, I think for a lot of that, it matters marketing strategies.
Yeah, I want to say at least 70-80%.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I think some of those people, like the higher ups in the industry, I think really are genuine Satanists, though. I think some of those people are genuinely like believe in the occultic nonsense, and so they're doing that symbols and stuff with the belief themselves that this will actually help drive like part of their success and so on and so forth. In the same sense, like where it's like, I as a Christian, I probably should do more about this, right? Like, I've been telling myself I'm gonna start doing it, and that's like for every video, put a scripture that I think is like kind of relevant to the scripture, like in the YouTube comments, not in the YouTube comment, in like the description of the YouTube video, like things like that, where it's like, because I want to do more about like professing my Christianity and stuff, and I would imagine like for other people, like that's like kind of their like requirements as well. Like, do you remember when like Shaq, when he like retired from the NBA, and he was like on a thing, and he had like this ring, like a Masonic ring, and they were asking him, what's that? And he was like, it's just a profession of my beliefs. And he said that like multiple times. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. But I mean, he could be a Mason.
Yep. I mean, they're a real organization. I think of it like secret societies, where it's like, yo, I'm looking for success and power, and these people are successful and connected enough that they can pull the strings to get me into the places that I need to get into, right, in order to get the jobs and stuff that I need to. Like Shaq probably didn't want to like have to retire and just be like a random like retired basketball player. It's like, no, I still want to be able to do commentary. I still want to get paid like millions of dollars. I want to maintain my lifestyle. How do I like now transfer from player to something else, you know, to other realms of success within the same industry? And so I could see people making those kinds of decisions.
Absolutely. So I had an experience, it was a long time ago. There was a bar I used to frequent, and the owner was a practicing voodoo high priest. And, you know, he used to have like full on blues nights, and he would blow cigar smoke on his skulls and make his prayers. And ultimately, because it was a biker bar, the bar got shut down because it was in a pretty affluent neighborhood. So when they shut down his bar, he did some weird ritual with a cow's tongue and put it underneath the main door. And he believed all that stuff worked.
And what does the cow tongues do?
I have no idea. It's supposed to be bad luck or them not being able to rent the place out. It did take many, many years before the place got rented out. So
yeah,
who knows?
I know a lady, she cheated on her husband, like left, and when she like he obviously like broke up with her and all that stuff, and when they moved out and they were like trying to figure out whatever, she like started living with one of her friends, and she was doing all this ritual stuff. Like she would like, they would go and like get all these papers, and they would like write on the papers like whatever, and they would drink wine, like was her and a group of other women. They would drink wine and chant in a circle, and then like drop those papers that they wrote the things on into a fire while chanting something in order to like get their wishes. And they're like literally practicing some form of witchcraft. Now to a non-religious person, it's like, oh, okay, so she just being a nut job. But to a religious person, it's like, oh no, this is a person genuinely like making an appeal to Satan. And I think a lot of this stuff is rooted in what your foundational beliefs, which is why I said it's hard to have this conversation like considering different contexts, because like from a religious standpoint, it's like if you believe in God and Satan, etc., then you can see that like as a Christian, you'll say that this is a person genuinely making an appeal towards dark forces. Whereas if you're like a non-believer, it's like, oh, what? It doesn't make a difference. Heck, when you decide, hey, I'm gonna pray for you, they're like, that doesn't make a difference. Like it just doesn't mean, you know what I mean? So it's
all right.
It's wild. But witches are real. There are people that genuinely believe and practice this kinds of nonsense. That's a thing.
Oh, someone in my chat brought up the OTO, Ordo Templi Orientis, which is another one of the Freemasonic type of institutions. Have you heard of them?
No. I have not.
Yeah, definitely another one of these organizations with different symbology. Yeah, you can, let me send you the Wikipedia page real quick.
Okay. If they're big enough, I'll have seen the symbolism, because I'm telling you, I used to watch a lot of these videos back in the day. The way I okay.
The Eye of Horus right there on top.
Yeah, I've seen that bird. I've definitely seen that. That cross is like, it's really, really common. I forget what it's called, but that's, I mean, even like the white nationalists and stuff, they were wearing that for a while. It was red, I believe. Yep. Yeah. Interesting.
So even more of these. So this is just going to be prevalent within society. And people that want to mimic what these people are doing and maybe have no understanding of exactly what they're putting forward, but they definitely want to get something out of it.
Yeah. There's a thing called was a book, and it's called The Devil and Daniel Webster, that was later adapted into a cartoon form called The Devil and Daniel Webster Mouse. And it's just about these people that are trying to like get into the music industry, and one of them ends up selling her soul to the devil in order to do it, becomes particularly successful, then the devil comes back to claim her soul, and then they have to whatever. And I remember seeing that as a very, very young child, because my siblings and I used to go to a Christian library once a week to get our books for the week. Because remember, we didn't have television, so they would show a like Christian themed movie every like week. And I remember one time that was the thing. I was a very young kid, and I'm pretty sure I fell asleep during a part of it. But I remember the fear associated with it. And the main tagline of the song was, "Look where the music can take you if you let it go." I said all that to say, because from a young age, I already had it implanted into my brain that Satan will try to come for you if you're going to do certain things. So I actually had a lot of fear associated with doing music and things like that. Well, I reached out to some like particularly successful artists one time, and I had her write a song for me that I had produced, and she did. And it was like a really good Christian, like faith-based song, and it was amazing. And I was like completely happy with it. And then afterwards, then she decided she wanted to do a demonic song, and so she rewrote the song into a demonic song. And when I told her that I wouldn't do the demonic song, like I'd like, but not in a bad way. It was more like a, hey, you know, like, just as, you know, I like said it as politely as possible. And then she was just like, well, I'm not going to do it again, so just find someone else. And she just quit on me. And I remember how many times I kept frequently having those types of experiences, back to back. I had like just like gotten like third place in this contest, or second place, excuse me, in this contest for a Zed contest for like this clarity. And like some people saw my music and they reached out like, hey man, like you're really, really good, I would like to do some work with you. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then she told me, she was like, yeah, you know, like this is what I want to do, and so on. So I sent her a song, and I was like, I even wrote the lyrics already, so you don't even have to do the writing, all you have to do is sing it. And I sent it to her, and she was like, I really love this, let me run it by my manager. So she comes back and she says, so my manager told me that it doesn't match my image, so I can't do it. And I was like, okay, well, what's your image? Tell me what it is, and I can maybe rewrite something that will match. And she goes, never forget it. Well, how do I not sound so artsy? There's like a dark underworld, and I'm the queen of that underworld. And so I need music that is both melodic but powerful. It has like almost like a dark energy that matches whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if I've ever done that kind of music. Let me see. I'll see about it. And then that would be the end, right? And so I just gave up. Like, I'm not doing that, right? So then I've never reached out to that person again. I'm telling you, it just kept coming over and over and over again.
I've only had one like that. I met this dude. I don't know how I met him. I really can't even remember it. And he really took a liking to how I rhyme and wanted to work with me, and took me out to J Book's house from B2K. And It was his dad's birthday. He bought him a Rolls Royce or some garbage. And I'm getting shopped around this house. Like everybody's just like, hey, rap. Like just so like they just want to hear me rap. So like I have to perform on cue basically. So I'm already not digging it. So basically this dude was putting forward that for this to work out, I'm gonna have to rap what he gives me. And it was all pretty violent stuff.
Yeah.
It's not how I work. And he was very persistent and strong-army about it. So at that point, I just stopped answering his phone calls. And like this was after being around him for about a month. And never saw or heard from that dude again.
Yep. That happens really frequently. One of my mom's one of her best friends, her son was a rapper, and he eventually goes to a label, and he goes down there and he starts making his music, and so his mom is just like trying to ask him, like, hey, like, you know, let me hear some music, and he was telling her, I can't let you hear my music. And he was so ashamed of the music that he made, and that was not the type of music he did beforehand, but that's what the label wanted from him, and so he had done all this music that he didn't feel comfortable. And then while he was there, he also got strung out on drugs. And I'm telling you, hearing all those kinds of stories at a young age, and just seeing how frequently drugs were mixed with the music industry, it made me so afraid of it. And I think, like, again, as I started like really getting better at producing and things like that, and just constantly getting approached by people that wanted me to do things that were not in line with my, you know, Christian values, it felt like, I remember at one point thinking I'm gonna just give up. I remember saying to myself, I'm just not gonna be able to do music, because if this is the only way to success, then I don't want to do it. And I had to start looking up different artists that weren't like, so I was like praying about it like really heavily, because I was like very disappointed, and started praying about it. And then I feel like I genuinely believe that God like brought to my mind and attention like a bunch of artists that were particularly successful that weren't like Illuminati'd out, you know what I mean? Like they weren't associated with that type of imagery. And I mean, some of the most successful artists in the world. And it started occurring to me like, oh, so you don't have to do this. Like there is a way, there's a pathway, you can still make it. And I think that like helped a lot, because up to that point I was like incredibly discouraged. I'll tell you what, I can actually play the 2 songs so you can hear them. I won't put this in the video on YouTube though, because that artist one day might see it and I could get bodied. And I just don't, I'm not trying to make no enemies. But let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna show you one of them. Hear the original. I told her I was a Christian too before she made the song for me, and she just couldn't be bothered. Let's see, I'll find it once.
Rough.
I mean, no. When she knew I was a Christian, she did amazing. I thought the first one was perfectly fine. Watch this.
Sounds like a confession.
Which one is better?
The beats on this one was better, but the lyrics on the first one were better.
Yeah, I liked
so
her.
The bass was a bit stronger.
Oh yeah.
In this version.
Bro, I just liked the vocal lines, the way she delivered them, the riff she did on the chorus, and
Solid.
It was freaking insane. But it was just like, you know, I'm not
but
gonna do that.
Who is that marketed to?
I don't even freaking know.
Like, they're not gonna play that on the radio.
Oh yes.
Like, what is the point of this song?
We're gonna die young.
Really?
They did that with Kesha, bro. Why would they not? I can show you a billion different songs. The darker they are, look at Rihanna's. I just shot a man down. What Russian roulette. You can see my heart.
Well, I'm saying there's not a single song I can think of that just straight up says like "Hail Satan" or whatever.
Yeah, call the demons
like,
into me for
this
no
one
reason.
Just straight up says. Yeah, all that. Like that was where I was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, it was wild.
Who is this marketed for?
Oh, but I mean,
who's gonna want to listen to this?
I mean, do you feel like that's like really not a thing? Because what about that one song? What's it called? I think it's called "Oh Devil." Let me see. I can find it if I do "Devil." Is that the name of the song? Is it Electric? Is it Electric Guess?
I heard of him.
It might be.
Still listening. I'll be right back.
Yep.
One of them looks like a lifeguard.
Like a billion different songs that are like all very, very dark within their lyrics, and like they're just, it's like really, really common. It's really, really, really common in music, in pop music.
And that was also something I used to do when I believed. I would throw in religious imagery. So I had a line that says, nicotine concealing in smoke screens the former dealings of a fallen being turned a demon trying to break even.
Yep, makes sense.
And
I
that
mean,
was how I thought of myself in a way.
yeah. I mean, why, Nick? Why not? If that's what you're about, if that's like what you believe in and stuff, why wouldn't you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so,
And this was when I was a believer. So,
yeah.
But my stuff was pretty dark in itself.
Leah Sheffield didn't never drinking again.
But I considered it more emotional than being dark.
But I so my thing is, I just think Satan is like inherently dark. Like it just is it not?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's the exact opposite of what he was intended to be, and that's what happened.
Right. So then it's
So
just
before
like,
he was the light bringer.
yeah. I mean, so it's like to like constantly reference that kind of stuff, I think is just inherently dark. And that's everywhere within the music industry. It's like really, really, really common.
That was where the whole demons thing was. Oof,
Yeah, it was OD.
I don't get it.
Just around this time, right? There was I remember putting a video on YouTube, and there was a person that told me basically, like, they messaged me. They were like, hey, this is really, really good. And they said, what was it? They said, listen, we do a lot of, what was it? What did they say? He said, I have placements on X amount of radio stations around the freaking country. And they said, and so I can get your music placed on whatever. I just need you to register at this website. And I say, okay. So I'm like, oh, let me look into this. So I go to this website. And on this website, at the very, very bottom of the page, it just says the word Illuminati for no reason. Okay. And then, and it has it about us. And it's like, who are the Illuminati? And it's like, we are just the enlightened, we are beings of light, etc., etc. So it's like really talking about them in a positive way. And then there was a little montage video that said, represent us and we'll represent you. And it was just a montage of all these people holding up the rock. And this happened right after that chick told me, that she wasn't going to do my song because I wouldn't do that center version. Which happened really shortly after that lady told me that my music wasn't like that. She couldn't do my song because her manager said it didn't match her image, and that she had to be the ruler of the dark underworld, the queen of the dark underworld, and that so she needed music that would like fit that image. and so she needed me to produce stuff like that. It's like all of these things happened so like quick in succession that it was just like, oh, so this is that. Either I do this or there's just not, the music opportunities aren't going to come. And so for me, it was like, but I guess I always had a belief in my mind that I would get approached in that way, because I just knew that I was really good. Like, I'm really good at what I do. Like, I feel like I'm genuinely gifted by God. And so it's like, I don't think that there's ever a point where there's like, not, as a religious person, I'm obviously going to believe that any person who like has a calling and a gift by God, it's going to be try to be manipulated to be used in a negative way. And I feel like that's what was happening to me. So it's just, I just made a decision. I would rather not do music than do music that violates my conscience in that way. Most people would not do that. Most people would just go ahead and say, it's not that big a deal. I'll just go ahead and do it. And I'll just, ask for forgiveness later on, I'll reclaim my soul later.
You have like some of the most surreal experiences.
Yeah.
To where like, it's just like, hey, here's the thing that you thought would actually, this is the thing. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I saw just straight up Illuminati on the paper, I first ask them about it, which is probably not a good idea, but I'd be like, is this tongue in cheek or is this like a thing you believe? And then I'd be out of there either way.
Yeah. I wonder if I could find that email. It was sent to me, it was messaged to me on YouTube, and I don't have a lot of YouTube messages. Maybe it's still there, and maybe I can still find that website.
That's wild.
It could have been fake, maybe it could have been like a fishy. I don't know. I just don't know. I just know that at this point, you got to think, I've been raised in the world like super duper Christian, and I've like heard about how the Illuminati is going to approach you, and how the devil's going to try to use your music in the worst way, and all of these things. So for me, it was like, when it was happening, it was just like, oh yeah, this is just, how do they still have messaging on YouTube? Is that even a thing?
I don't think so.
Oh, so maybe I won't be able to find it. But yeah, I was already hearing that was a thing, and so then like, this is just like, oh, this is like, okay, so it's true, like it's happening to me right now, and I just determined I just refuse. I would rather just not do it.
Yeah, I'm like kind of shook if you find the email and I'm on this, what's gonna happen to me?
Yeah, bro, that'd be wild.
Because that's a little too real.
Let me Google it. Is there a way to check your YouTube messages? Can you check messages YouTube? I don't know if that's a thing anymore.
I don't know if it's just for creators or because I don't have a YouTube page really, so I wouldn't know. But that is, what would be the point of even putting that on the contract? Or
bro, it couldn't make sense.
Yeah, flying too close to the sun, Icarus. That's exactly what this feels like. Like, all of a sudden, we've stepped into the threshold of what actually exists and what doesn't exist. And if you find it, you just open Pandora's box.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, man. I look at it and I think with just knowing who I am and like just like my outlook on life and things, I realized that if I was the person to end up doing those kinds of things, I would lose a lot of respect for myself. Like I would just not be able to still be confident in myself. And I think that's when drugs and things like that come in play, because I think it requires a personal constitution, like to abstain from things that are really common within the industry. Like evil communications corrupt good manners. And so I think I have to have my own values and personal, beliefs and things that like tell me I'm not going to do it. Because when I say that drugs and things like that are literally everywhere in the industry, it's everywhere. And so,
oh, for sure.
I never wanted to be on drugs. I never wanted to, my dad, was a crackhead at some point, and I just always was like really opposed to drugs. And so then it was just like, but I know how easy it is when like everyone's doing it and you're normalized to it, and it's just like, hey, it's just a normal thing. Like, I'm still functioning fine, and this is like a good way of like for some people it's like a rite of passage. Like if you will do drugs with them, then they're more inclined to trust you. And so then they want to work with you more because they're doing drugs. And so it's like a camaraderie thing. There's just all of this pressure. And it's like, nah, I have to have my constitution. But if I'm already like from the baseline doing the things that I don't want to do, then it's just like, it's like, what am I going to do?